Hello everyone. So today I'm going to show you the handful of pictures, good pictures, and potentially not that good, images that I took right after I had my vitrectomy surgery on my left eye, but before I had the emergency surgery for the infection. So for anybody who doesn't know, I had surgery on my left eye. 5 days later, I had to have emergency surgery because there was an infection. That infection destroyed the lens of my left eye, so I'm currently completely blind in my left eye. And the eye is currently filled with silicone oil. When they remove that oil, they'll put a new lens in, and hopefully we'll see much better out of that eye once that's done. In the meantime, the plan is while I was recovering from that surgery, I would take this camera. This is a Leica Typ 109 D-Lux, 12 megapixel variable aspect ratio, which interesting new cameras have come out using that exact thing, including the new iPhone 17. So as you change the from portrait to landscape, it can do that without you rotating your phone, and it's doing that because the sensor is now square in the iPhone 17. So anyway, just a little fact. Unfortunately, so I had noticed, and to be clear, this camera is 11 years old. I bought this camera and was either 2014 or 2015, about 6 months after it came out. Ordered it from the Leica store in Miami, and this camera has been everywhere. I used it solely for a couple of years. 2017, took it with us to Taos, New Mexico, and haven't really looked back since. Did notice that there's a little rubber piece here on the backside of the camera that for some reason has started to lift off. I'm assuming that's due to the salt air moving to Florida to some extent. Some of it's just the age, and maybe the glue is just beginning to fail. But I also had a couple of other issues. I, as my wife would drive around, I would hold the camera up through the window of the vehicle and wait for the shutter or the focus confirmation and take pictures. I also, since we were shooting in bright sunlight most of the time, I adjusted the exposure compensation dial on the camera, and the bulk of the pictures I had two issues. One, despite focus confirmation, and it's not horrible per se yet, but it is an 11-year-old camera with about 68,000 shutter actuations. So I'm imagining that the motors in the lens are probably beginning to wear to the point where it's starting to show up in the images. It was definitely present in the images. I took 183 images, and out of those images, I got 6 that I'm not afraid to show you guys today, which is really low for this camera. Now, most of that has nothing to do with whether or not they're in focus. Most of it has to do with the exposure compensation dial, because at one stop down on the exposure compensation dial, ISO 100, because I'm shooting in full sunlight, the pictures look like night shots. And it's not like they were particularly quick exposures. So the bulk of them were more or less useless. I mean, I could pull them up in Photoshop, but this sensor does not have the dynamic range to maintain that detail, pulling those images up in post-processing. So with all of that, and the camera's age and the number of images I've already gotten off of it, I am going to retire this camera from use. Because at this point, I don't trust using this camera anymore. Now, I will keep the camera. I still love the camera, but I kept my Canon 10D. I used that camera for years, and it never failed me. And I can probably still pick it up today and shoot with it, but it's 6 megapixels. So anyway. So I've decided, yeah, I'm going to retire this camera. I have plenty of other cameras. I don't really need it anymore, but it was a nice portable lightweight camera with a really beautiful lens, a decent zoom on it, f1.7. It was a really fantastic camera, and it has served me well. And unfortunately, it's just time to say goodbye. So anyway, with that being said, I will now flip over so we can look at the handful of pictures that I selected for us to look at. So let me flip this over. Okay. Well, maybe. Try that again. Oops. I would hope if I click on the right thing. Okay, there we go. So here we have a picture of Corbin on our really expensive dog couch. I shouldn't say that. We used this couch as a primary seating area for a long time, but now we have new recliners, so we generally don't use this sofa, and the dogs mostly just Corbin lay on it. What's funny is apparently the sofa is not comfortable enough for him. So we put a cover on it and put a couple of dog beds on it, and he lays up there pretty consistently now. All right, let's see. Okay. So this is the scene where I got a whole bunch, and this image was also taken with the exposure compensation dial set at -1. This is one of the only pictures that actually came out. There's a handful of them, but actually, you can tell it's daylight. So anyway, we're crossing the Indian Atlantic River, heading into Melbourne, Florida. So I took a couple of pictures. There's a little, I don't know if it's an island that's formed because of the pilings from the bridge, or if it's always just been a little island out in the river. But apparently it's growing shrubberies now. I took this picture. I decided to keep it. Again, the camera settings are all the same. The camera's in focus. but of course my legs are way blown out, overexposed. But I don't know. I for whatever reason I kind of like it, but yeah. Anyway, it's kind of a silly picture. More of the shrubbery. I believe, so I caught this guy by accident, and I believe he is a photographer. He's got his camera up, looking to take some pictures on the river. And I think, yep, that's it. So that's all the images that I decided to keep. So let me flip this back around here. Okay, so that's it. Kind of a somewhat sad, kind of an end of an age on that little camera. So that now begs the question, what kind of camera, or what camera am I going to use as a little carry-around camera? And I think it's going to be the Leica M11 for a number of reasons. Great resolution. You know, the one item on there is it's not an autofocus camera. You know, everything's manual focus. However, I can use zone focusing, and generally speaking, it's with zone focusing. Of course, the Leica lenses have little tabs on them, which makes it really easy to do zone focusing. And if you don't know what that is, I have a prior video you can look up where I discuss in detail zone focusing. So I'll probably do that. I have a 28mm lens, Minolta lens on that camera, but I also have a 35mm Voigtlander. And I do have a Summicron 50mm. I also have some old screw mount Leica lenses, including a collapsible Summer at 50mm. It has some scratches on the glass, but they're not really evident in the pictures. But of course, you know, it's not a really sharp lens, so anyway, I may just keep the 28 on for a while and see what kind of images I get. But yeah, I think if it's not the M11, it'll probably be the monochrome. I haven't entirely made up my mind. I may actually just do this with the monochrome, since I like taking black and white images anyway. It is significantly heavier than the little Type 109, so you know, there's that consideration. I don't know if I'm going to get another pocket camera or a smaller camera. I have considered it. I don't know if anybody's got any thoughts about it. One of the cameras that I thought about was getting one of the Fuji I guess I can't remember the exact model. I know number 6 is out, but it has a fixed lens on it. But that camera still looks a little bit larger, and if it's the same size as my Leica, then I don't really see a point in getting one. Although everything says that all of those cameras, no matter which one you get, are very high quality cameras. So, and I'm not going to shell out what was it, $5,000 for the new Sony pocket camera. That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So anyway, that's it for today's musings, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please press the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And I do appreciate everybody's well wishes on my surgery and recovery. So So other than that, that is it for now. And thanks. Have a great week, and hopefully I'll figure out which camera I'm going to use. At least temporarily, it'll be one of the Leicas going forward. And yeah, that's it. Thanks, everybody. Bye.